up and welcome to another episode here of the Wrestling Wednesday. What's up, wrestling? I'm still not sure how to call it. Why? Because while this goes live on Wednesday where I live, which is in Thailand, it's not Wednesday where you might live. And so, because Wednesday Thailand is ahead of the US, for example. So it's Wednesday, and you know what it means where I am. But where AEW is, for example, it's still Tuesday. It's confusing. Nevertheless, I didn't want to wait any longer because, well, while I'm not able to talk about Dynamite this week because Dynamite happens on when they're Thursday in my time zone, I needed to talk about AEW Revolution. So that's why this goes live on a Tuesday here in Thailand, which is not a Tuesday in AEW land, unfortunately. But as I said, I simply needed to talk about Revolution because, oh my God, Revolution, right? And again, I'm not just recapping the matches, because there are so many shows out there that do that, like probably Cultaholic and whatnot. I'm going to try to look at how are the wrestlers as well as the company, how are they using media, because that's just what my work, right? Talk about like media, understanding media theories and whatnot. So I try to see if I can make some sense of what's happening here. And usually I do AEW, as you know, but then of course I try to also follow the E if possible, if I'm not too upset with what they're doing. But now, since it was pay-per-view time, let's focus on AEW Revolution, and then the next time around we're gonna add everything again. So the buy-in. Well, not much to talk about here. We had Layla Hirsch, we had Chris Statlander, and I'm actually a fan of Chris Statlander. I think she's like one of the more solid performers when it comes to the women's division here. She seems to be very reliable. I like her moveset. I like her aura that she has. I also like her social media presence. I haven't followed in a while, but for when I did, I liked it. Simply like how she interacts with the best friends and so on. I think that's a good thing. I think overall, of course, the women's division isn't that much in the focus at AEW still, so they could do a better job here. But more on this, of course, in a moment, and when we talk about the other women's matches, of course. We then had Hook versus QT Marshall. Of course, Hook was going to win, and I am not sure. Like how this Hook train started, if it wasn't just sarcasm from the fans, because I don't see anything special with Hook. I don't like that they kind of force him down our throats. And I think if they want to build him up, they should do it a little bit slower. Yeah, he's not being the superstar yet, but he's beating QT Marshall. And QT Marshall was at some point in a feud with Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes was somewhat up there in the upper echelon, so I'm not sure. So I think they kind of forcing Hook down our throats a bit too fast, and yeah, he has got nice suplexes, obviously, but then that's about it. He's fast, but he doesn't have the personality that is captivating, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just a hater. Let me know if you think so, but I just don't have this spark. It's like, oh yeah, cool, it's Hook. Like, maybe it's because he looks so young. Maybe it's because like I feel like I'm bigger than Hook, for example. So I'm not sure what it is, but I can't really relate to him. And I think AEW could do a better job here and like maybe telling Hook's story, not just like here that's his dad, but they never really highlight his story, like where he came from and like what's his goal. So I don't know anything about Hook, so I don't really care about Hook. What else do we have? We had the House of Black versus the Death Triangle. Death Triangle now with Redbeard in there. Eric Redbeard, that's the name. I'm not a big fan of the House of Black. That's just on my style. But the storytelling makes sense to me, which I appreciate. And they stick to their thing, to their moveset, to the story that they're telling, to the myths that they're using and whatnot. So I like that. I'm a fan of Penta, of course. Penta El Cero Miedo, Penta Oscuro, obviously. So I'm a big fan of Penta. I don't like Pac as a person that much, as a persona, but of course the skill set is fantastic. So I like this. I'm not a big fan of Eric Rowe Redbeard, but maybe he can convince me now that he's in AEW. I do like the storytelling, as I mentioned now a few times here with the House of Black, because that's coherent. It makes sense. The way, I mean, I follow Malachi Black. I was about to say Alistair. I follow Malachi Black on social media because he's got a Muay Thai background, and I'm into Muay Thai, as you might know. So I do follow him, and it's not really. I mean, he's breaking kayfabe all the time, of course. So there's not much to talk about this from my point of view, but like in the ring and like everything around makes sense to me. I think they could also tell the story a little bit better of like what's happening with Buddy Matthews right now, for example, but maybe we just have to wait and see that play out in the ring. As for the Death Triangle, I mean, they really suffer from all the injuries and so on right now. So I really hope that we can see them all together rather soon, because then they are just awesome. Oh, Penta Oscuro now. We then had Chris Jericho versus Eddie Kingston, which was, in my opinion, the one of the weaker matches on the card. I see all the reviews are like very good, but I didn't get really into it, and I'm actually a Jericho fan, somewhat. And I did like the finishes and so on, but like the finish was weird, right? But I'm not here to just review matches, so I'm also here to look at like how was it portrayed media-wise. By the way, commentary, and while I understand that JR is a legend, maybe he's getting a bit old. At times it was really tough to listen to, and I'm very sorry to say that about JR. Back to the match though. I think they didn't do a great job here in like highlighting what's at stake. What's at stake? They just don't like each other? Cool. At the very end, they said like they had a deal that if Eddie Kingston wins, Chris Jericho was going to shake his hand, and then he didn't want to shake his hand, and then that's it. That's a WWE like storyline. Like, I'm going to shake your hand if you beat me. There was, and then Chris Jericho just walks away, and now is Chris Jericho turning heel again? Do we have to stop singing his song? Which would be okay because it's been sung for so long now. I don't know. So I couldn't really get into that. So I'm sorry. Yeah, well, just my opinion. Let me know if you agree or disagree. The tag team championship, the Jurassic Express, Red Dragon, and the Young Bucks, of course, was fantastic in my opinion. Apparently, I deferred to lots of wrestling websites here who just said it was okay, but not great. I thought it was great. I thought the storytelling here was also on point. Like slowly, first the Young Bucks, Red Dragon working together, then the tension building up. That was nice. Then of course they had to inadvertently hit each other. Obviously, it was obvious that it's going to happen, and then it breaks down. That was great. And of course, then Kyle O'Reilly with like his defying like actions all the time, like no matter if babyface or heel, he always has those spots in there. We're like, oh my god, really? It's over, and it's not. Yeah, the Young Bucks with some crazy, like again showing off some really crazy tag team. I don't know, chemistry. Obviously, I mean it's the Young Bucks, but it's just awesome to see like a team with such chemistry and like being able to act that fast. It's just great. And then also, of course, like I mean, Luchasaurus and a Jungle Boy, just like the Jungle Boy moonsault and stuff, like fantastic. So I'm a big fan of this. Yes, it's spot heavy, but it's a trios tag team match, so of course it's gonna be spot heavy. I like the story the stories that have been told in there. They made sense. Young Bucks, Red Dragon gonna clash. Awesome. Well done. I like it. We then had the Face of the Revolution ladder match, and it was a bit weird because I liked the ladder match. It was a great ladder match. I didn't get this Face of the Revolution story from the beginning, to be honest. Like, yeah, okay, congratulations with the Face of the Revolution. But the match itself was great. It was Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, Powerhouse Hobbs, who I'm slowly warming up to. Ricky Starks, who's underrated in my opinion. Wardlow, yeah. Christian Cage, who's kind of been forgotten for a while now. But it was another match where I thought it was awesome, but all the websites out there give like Jericho Kingston A grades and like this like a B minus C grade. I like this a lot. Maybe again, call me spot monkey or whatever, spot fanboy. But it was cool. There's so many spots and innovative spots that you don't see all the time. Even though we've seen ladder matches now many times, like a few of the spots were like, oh my God, really? You're doing this? Like even the Orange Cassidy silly stuff was still innovative. Right? In the beginning, when he just jumped up on the backs of the big guys, or when he put himself up on the ladder, it was cool. And then of course the fun element again, just to like make it a bit silly in between. Danhausen's spot was unfortunately botched, I believe, time-wise, I believe. Otherwise, this might have been even funnier. But overall, again, the story here, like Wardlow, Keith Lee, Hobbs, going at each other like I'm the strongest big man and so on. I like that. I like Orange Cassidy trying to outsmart people, but it didn't work. Like Ricky Starks, then going at Orange Cassidy, going at Christian Cage. It all makes sense to me. I like that. So cool. I like story still making sense. Winner Wardlow, of course, also makes sense, especially then looking at how the night developed further. Okay, quickly, TBS Championship, Jade Cargill, Ty Conti. I'm a big Ty Conti fan, so damn. They still keep building Jade Cargill. I still don't think she's a great wrestler, but she's got the physique, she's got the looks, and that's what they want right now, so that's why she's getting all of it. We then had CM Punk versus MJF in a dog collar match, which was insane, of course, and it was fantastic, and it was exactly what it needed to be. CM Punk coming out with his old gear, coming out to the old theme music. Yes to everything. Awesome. The story being told, CM Punk first outsmarting MJF fighting back because he's younger and stronger, being condescending. Then CM Punk not giving up, overcoming the odds. You could have thought about this before, obviously, but it was just so well told. And now I'm not even mad at MJF losing. And even though the guys at Cultaholic, shout out to Cultaholic, made a point that MJF always wins the first feud and he loses the last one to like the big stars, like to Jericho and so on. I'm not even mad that he lost this one to CM Punk because storytelling continuity. Shout out Ross at Cultaholic. It will. I'm sure they're gonna revisit this. They're gonna revisit this feud in 6 months and a year from now, and then MJF is gonna go over on CM Punk, and it's gonna be super sweet for MJF. Maybe even in a title fight or something like that. So I'm sure this feud. It's not going to end with the CM Punk winning this right now, and their feud is not going to be over. Maybe they're going to move on into different directions for a little bit. But MJF now being disappointed, like pissed with Wardlow, maybe sending, Sean Spears after Wardlow or like the Pinnacle after Wardlow, focusing on that first. CM Punk maybe going for a title or whatnot. But then they're going to come back to this feud, I'm sure. So that was great in my opinion. We had the Women's Championship between Britt Baker, TMD, and Thunder Rosa, and let's just move on very quickly because this was probably also one of the weaker matches on the card. Unfortunately, I don't like all the outside interference that is always there with Britt Baker. Yeah, she's a heel, but does she really need that? I'm not sure. It was a bit too much. I had such high expectations, and it wasn't really met. So let's just move on without much. I know everybody has a day off, so let's just leave it at that. We then had Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. Of course, Moxley like with a hot start, Danielson fighting back, Danielson being like smarter than, of course, trying to outsmart him. Eventually, like they're also starting bleeding. I forgot to mention that, of course, in every big fight, everyone was bleeding all the time. But hey, that's okay. Was a bit much eventually, but well, it doesn't happen all the time, so it's still okay, I believe. Eventually, Jon Moxley actually was about to be beat down, but then was smart, outsmarting Bryan with kind of like a roll-up thingy. That was great. It was a bit long in between, I found, so that's why it wouldn't. If I would grade, I wouldn't have given it an A. I would have given it like a B plus maybe. But it was great. And then in the end, of course, William Regal coming out, because when they both went at each other after the pin, of course, and then William Regal comes out, slaps both of them, said, shake hands now. So another twist in the story. storytelling fan here. Love it. Let's see what they don't like each other, but will William Regal be able to keep them together for now? Are they going to be a tag team, a faction? And if so, it's gonna implode, of course, at some point. But what can they achieve until it implodes? So many questions. Great booking, great storytelling. I can't wait. Yes. We then had the AHFO, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Sting. Super chaotic. The balcony splash from Sting, was just crazy. Like, this dude is like over 60. It didn't hit for me simply because I don't know, maybe I was tired from the John Moxley Danielson match before. But for what it was great because I expected like a cool down match, kind of but they pulled out lots of stops, like Darby Allin crazy as always, of course, but also the AHFO was like showing lots of stuff. I was like, okay. So that was kind of cool. Not really much story development here. Yes, they are all involved. Somehow they don't like each other. Matt Hardy doesn't like Sting and doesn't take Darby Allin serious. And all those things still didn't really connect with me. So that I'm like, okay, what's going to happen next? Because, I mean, there's so many people involved here. They're going to go into different directions again, especially Sammy Guevara defending his TNT title, of course. So they're not going to stick together. But it was fun for what it was. So I appreciate that. And then we had the main event, of course, Hangman Adam Page versus Adam Cole, baby. And here, just a big shout out to the crowd who had lots of fun with like, let's go Adam. For example, apparently JR just didn't like that they're both called Adam. But yeah, so that was funny. Then they had the Cena chant like, let's go Adam, Adam sucks, which was also kind of funny. So I enjoyed the crowd having fun with this, but that's cool because it means they're having a good time, they're enjoying the event and so on. Eventually, they booed Hangman more and more and more and cheered more for Adam Cole, which was kind of surprising. I mean, you could hear actual boos at the end when Adam Page got ready to, like, he pulled down his knee pad to deliver like the boom to Adam Cole, and you heard boos there. So it was kind of surprising to me. Like, did I miss like a heel turn kind of like from Adam Page? But in the end, he was shaking Adam Cole's hand when he was unconscious on the canvas, like ROH style. Nice shout out to ROH, of course. So yeah, the fight was fantastic. Like, of course, first Adam Page having an upper hand, and Adam Cole, of course, and then outsmarting him a little bit, and it gets really tough. And then also blood here, of course. And then eventually, of course, also then Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish coming out, but then, of course, also the Dark Order coming out and chasing them away. So it had everything we expected, and it was just a tough match, a tough fight. And Adam Page keeping the title, I think, is smart. I think they could just showcase him a little bit more, because, like, if you look at WWE, how they showcase their champions, like how they showcase Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, for example. They suck with showcasing everybody else, like, terrible. But those two guys, like, they're front and center, they're everywhere. So I think Hangman Adam Page should just be like a bit more present, like all around AEW. Like, hey, that's the man, that's the champ. Like Kenny Omega, for example, did that. Like, he was always somehow present. Like, even if he wasn't there, but like the aura was just there, or like some message was there. So I think Adam Page should just be a bit more visible, because he's the champ. So, like, be like, man, I'm the champ. Like, I'm the number one top dog, top cowboy here. So I think here they could do a little bit of a better job in showcasing their champion. All right, so that's it for me for this week, for the Wrestling Wednesday. What's Up Wrestling name coming soon. Again, it's Wednesday in Thailand. It's probably Tuesday where you are. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the thing. Rate it if possible, so more people can find us, and we can have like a few more discussions, debates. The one thing I was missing, of course, at the event, but I don't know how to implement it, was like some kind of reference mentioned to what's happening in the Ukraine right now. Would have just been nice if, like, again, I do understand why companies and organizations like that don't do anything in this regard, because of course there's a big market there. But as a human being, you would just want them just to like take a stance or something, right? Be like, hey, come on, say something. But they didn't, which is a bit disappointing. Let me know what you think. Did you like the event? Like, how do you think AEW did with like setting up the pay-per-view, telling those stories, showcasing different talent? They do a good job. Should they have changed something? And do you think they should have mentioned Ukraine at some point? And as always, don't forget to kick out at 2. Leave comments, send an email, funkitpod@gmail.com, @funkitpod on social media. Stay safe, take care. See and talk to you soon. Sawadee Cup.